And we have 3 minutes after 2, so I think it's time for us to get started with today's webinar. So warmly welcome, and since we're talking about inclusion today, we are of course doing this in English so that everyone that wants to join us have the opportunity to do so. And as we see in the chat function, we also have a few attendees outside of Sweden, so that is very exciting for us. And before we get started with today's topic and agenda, I just briefly wanted to share a little bit about Invice and myself for those of you who haven't participated before. So we are having a webinar series on recruitment marketing. Invice is one of Sweden's leading digital agencies with competencies such as copy, design, social, web development, and foremost, we focus on inbound marketing and sales, and now also inbound recruiting. And we have helped a lot of companies to increase their experience through their customer journey. And now we're doing the same with the methods and tools for the candidate journey through recruitment marketing. And myself is Annika Bagge, and I'm recruitment marketing manager here at Invice. And before that, most of you in Sweden at least know about the Nordic region's largest HR group, WISE Group. And that's where where I used to work previously before Invice as a head of marketing and innovation. And there was really where I found my passion for recruitment marketing and really how to work really effectively in the attraction phase. So today we're going to talk about not only that, but foremost for this topic today is how to be consciously inclusive throughout the funnel from attract to convert. And to help me discuss this today, I have two fantastic guests here today.
Whoop, whoop. Hey everyone!
We have Sara Dasfelt, who is a TA tech expert at Adway, and we have Linnea Bibal, who is head of people at Alva Labs. Hey. And yeah, we're going to have hopefully a great discussion together with you. So keep the chat function warm with hitting us with questions, and we will take them as we go along during our conversation. So let's begin, and warmly welcome Sara and Linnea, and I truly looking forward to this session with you. And to start off, would you just like to introduce yourself and what you do?
100%. How was the order now again, Linnea?
You can go first. You can go first.
Since.
Well, both because you're matching Annika and because you work, top of funnel, and I come in a little bit later. So you can go first.
Okay, I love this. You will see the natural flow where Invice comes first with the content production, Adware with the distribution on social media, and Alva Labs for assessment in the best possible way. Hence the start then. And me too, Annika is so excited for this session. I've been so energized the whole week because I love this topic. I really this is my number one topic to talk about. And for you guys who don't know who I am, my name is Sarah. I'm a part of Adway, and we do automated recruitment marketing in social media to enable a 24/7 storytelling to attract and convert your most desired candidates. And I was actually the first woman into this company 3 years ago, but definitely not the last. State that. And last year we grew by 400%, and the need and interest for data-driven talent attraction have exploded. So just in short, before you take over, Linnea, in short, Adway is a smart TA acquisition platform and a recruitment marketing software that matches an employer's job opportunities with their dream candidates in a very unique way. The platform leverages social media storytelling and data and analytics to advertise to candidates where they spend the majority of their time, which is online. Shocker. Our software creates and distributes captivating job ads on social media and job boards so recruiters and employers can convert a diverse pool of candidates into becoming the best possible hires for their organization. So not only do our solution increase the size and quality of the candidate pool with more relevant and diverse talents, it can also retarget candidates who haven't yet applied significantly to lower the drop-off rate for the funnel. So above all else, we let data-driven decision-making, move over bias, lead the way.
Sweet. Then I'm going to jump in. So I'm jumping. My name is Linnea. I'm the head of people at Alva Labs. Alva is a SaaS tool that we help recruiters and hiring managers hire talent in a more like diverse way, offering an assessment tool with both a logic test and a personality test. And in my role, I'm a psychologist from the start. So in my role, I'm responsible for everything HR, which is in a fast-growing startup, a lot focus on recruitment. So not only am I using all of these tools, I'm also struggling with kind of the same problems that we are going to discuss today. So it's both my the company that I work for and my reality, I guess.
Headache and
headache
solution.
Yes.
Yeah, both of your companies are recruiting quite a lot yourselves.
Yeah.
Not only helping others, but also growing and recruiting very much yourselves as well. So
I think we're going to recruit 100 people this year. That's insane. We need both of your help.
Yeah, and thank you so much. And we are all today, not only the three of us, but hopefully our guests are here today because we really know the importance of working unbiased when working with recruitment. So could you please just give me some examples of why this is important?
Guessing I'm starting here, Linnea?
Yeah.
Perfect. And everyone in the comment section, feel free to fire away with comments. I think we'll take them as we go or perhaps finish off with them, but don't be shy. So please share your thoughts and questions there. So given, yes, we know the importance of working unbiased and inclusive. First of all, I'm just going to have a rant because I'm a bit tired of blaming all our unconscious bias when we have every tool and technique in the world to work consciously inclusive in talent acquisition. Let me just state that. So 10 years ago, yes, you could be unconscious. Now you have to shift the mental phrase of this and act accordingly to be conscious inclusive. So for instance, what are your current best practices for sourcing candidates? Are you using online job postings, referrals, or recruiting database? So in my view, there are over 4.5 billion people on social media, and they're made up of every people from every country, race, gender, sexual orientation, and skill set under the sun. And since social media eliminates bias targeting, it can help you reach more diverse candidates. It can also showcase your one-of-a-kind employer brand and culture, so candidates see exactly what's working with your organization is like. And the best recruitment advertising is unbiased, inclusive, and able to leverage innovations like social media, AI, and data-driven decision-making. But as you stated, Annika, and you, Linnea, for many recruiters, the repetitive tasks of the day, like sourcing and screening candidates or posting job ads, bring up an automatic and usually unintentional form of bias. And since diverse companies enjoy a 2.3 times higher cash flow per employee, there's no place for bias in recruiting. There's literally way too much at stake. But by turning to data-driven recruitment marketing in social media, recruiters can build a robust candidate funnel full of talent they can access wherever they are. And AdWay's solution eliminates bias right off the bat.
Yeah, and with that, all the millions you talked about that are on social media, many of them are passive, correctly?
Yeah. If we were to make a statement, like if we talk about the divided active passive candidates, so an active candidate is someone who's actively looking for a job, and a passive one is perhaps employed by your competitor and the best in the game. So on a global scale, we are looking at 30% active candidates and around 70% passive, meaning you can't just shout that you have an open vacancy, because who cares? You have to seduce, engage, and nurture your passive candidates further down the funnel. Hence, social media both makes sure it's not unbiased, make sure it's not biased in the targeting phase, and you also reach the most possible diverse pool when you're on social media.
And if I can just jump in here, I think like you raise a very interesting point, Sarah, in the fact that we shouldn't talk about unconscious bias anymore, because like that topic has been around for a long time, and there are actual solutions. But I think it's interesting because I agree with that in the fact that like I think recruiters, HR are very well aware of this.
Yes.
But however, I don't think like the entire organization is as aware. So I think we still struggle in that section with like hiring managers might not be as up to date on the latest science and how to actually solve it. As well as like, even if we actually have the solutions, we still don't use them. And for me, I think like it makes so much sense to still talk about this, because the market out there is really, it's not an equal opportunity for everyone. So just like to throw some data in the mix. Here it comes. No, but I think like if you are if you're a woman and you want a job, you're going to have to on average send in approximately 30% more applications than your male counterparts. Not because you're worse at the job, just because for some reason you're screened out. If you're a person of color, that number goes up to 50%.
Yes.
So then it's like, imagine if you're a woman of color, and even worse, if you have a last name that isn't, that doesn't sound Swedish or Norwegian or British or whatever country you're in. Or on top of that, if you're too young or too old, it's going to be, you don't have a fair chance to get into the job market. And still, we know that like diversity, it's not just something that HR can report in their numbers and be happy about. It actually drives like innovation, business outcome, profitability. So like, honestly, it's a joke that this is still an ongoing problem to some extent.
Yeah, and I think like also everyone in this room can agree that the like D&I goals for each company should be like imprinted in the OKRs, like on the whole company scale. And most of us would say like, yeah, but that's on like the board and that's on the leadership, on the management. But what I really like about this session is that we actually can make a difference for each section. So for instance, in my part, when I go first funnel for attracting talent, we can make a difference. But as you say, we won't be doing any difference or change if like the most inclusive ever strategy like facts a brick wall coming into the organization where none of this is imprinted. So yes, it's a joint OKR. Nope, it's not up to TA, but we can make a difference. That's what I love about this.
And how can we do that? Can you give us some examples? Given, I mean, you have tools, you have methods.
100%. Yeah, so I would say like in a world where diversity and inclusion is much more that we just stated than just a lofty goal on the company mission page, smart TA programs give equal weight to candidates based on specific selection criteria and help the humans in HR to build relationship instead of bias. So the result of working data-driven, for instance, in your talent attraction is a faster hiring process that fosters a diverse and inclusive candidate pool and workplace. So for instance, if we were to just share some success stories on adway.ai, our site, and on LinkedIn, we share a lot of them, like hundreds and hundreds every quarter. But if I were just to name like one customer that we work with, which is community building, like construction and engineering company, and they have over 16,000 employees and hire thousands of candidates every year with the help of Adway, and they have a net sales of 5.8 billion euro. We just we do a lot of things, but we have implemented our solution to every office they have, so they now have a unique solution from like on top building further down. And just by working data driven with their talent attraction with a solution like Adway, they've increased their female applicants by 72% just in a year, and that is growing massively. So that's like, and that's an easy, like it goes fast, just like implementing this kind of tools. It's not that hard. And of course, we're going to talk about the inclusive content to the ads and inclusive strategies. But yeah, that's just one of the results that could be happening.
Yeah. Do you have some great results to share, Linnea?
And I think, I think the key thing to keep in mind is like what we want to establish is that every candidate needs to be, facing the same process. They need to be treated the same way. And if I'm going to be a little bit mean, the less like human interaction
100%.
we can like use, the
In the
better it
first
often
steps.
is.
Yeah.
We're going to need that further down the line to like keep engagement and sell the role, but early on, the more like data driven, the more structure we can use, regardless of what type of tool you use, that's like the key thing. And actually, like way back, I worked with a similar company that you described, quite kind of like engineering heavy, large organization, and they had like targets to hire more female candidates, and they were, oh, we're searching for these women, but they don't apply to us,
They don't
and so forth.
exist.
Yeah, there's no female engineers.
No.
And then they started using like more structured ways of screening candidates, and all of a sudden, the women appeared out of nowhere, because it turned out they actually had female applicants, but because of how they were treating the candidates, they were missing them. So if again, being a little bit cruel, but if it is a middle-aged white male doing the hiring, you're going to like what you're used to. You're going to like people that are similar to you. And all of a sudden, you're going to end up hiring those type of people. So by working in a more structured way, you can turn that around. And that was like even in a scenario where HR were looking actively to hire more candidates. And then by like switching a desire into a concrete, like changing the way they work, they could actually achieve it. So I think we need to move away from just like setting the targets and wanting more inclusion to actually start doing those small concrete things that can actually, turn things around.
100%. And what I like about that is that with that strategy, you are conscious, inclusive, you're aware of your unconscious bias, but you're not sitting there like, hey, I'm a person, I should screen CVs. Okay, let's be conscious inclusion. That's not the case. You're aware of the problem. So for instance, you could like imprint tools, the first steps of the funnel, to make sure that everyone is assessed fairly. You've given everyone a chance, and the top 10 or the top 5 or the top 3 main candidates that you have, if you will, you could put in some gut feeling to that decision, because then you've made everything right from the beginning. So it's not up to a human saying, okay, let's be conscious inclusive. I just want to make that clear. But you have to realize where human don't actually make the best fit and where we make better fits further down the funnel.
And just like as a concrete,
just go.
As an example, like, okay, so we have been working like this when we have built our team at Alva, kind of eating our own medicine, of course. And we have not like actively tried to build diversity, but we are now a team of 50 people representing 16 different nationalities. Almost, or at least 2/5 of the people are non-Swedish, even though we're a Swedish company.
I think we're pretty similar, actually. Like these numbers,
I think we're like 40, 60 women, female in a tech company where it's impossible to hire women. It just happened. Like it's the byproduct of structured ways of working.
100%.
And just a small note on that, with how to attract female versus men, or what different counterparts. Also, it comes very much to the content and how you can really match your copywriting and change your copywriting to attract. You can just change some words and
you need to
to attract more women. It's quite different to write for a female or for a man, because you interpreted the message differently.
100%. We have a question from David Hatton. Should we just bring that one up? David, you are saying, I find age is still a huge issue. People concerned older applicants will retire within 2 to 3 years. You mean in your organization? So the
I think,
people.
I mean, that's a general problem, regardless if it's within, here and elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I think that the question is around speaking of diversity and there, so age is also a factor. You need to
100%.
also include older people. That age should not be important when you recruit.
Yeah.
You should look at motivation and
if you work data driven from the start with talent attraction, age isn't even a factor looked upon.
No,
not even at all. It's the potential from the start. So I'd say you have to work data driven here as well, and there's a lot of data and reports and stats why you should. So if it's a problem of communicating internally, then there's a lot of reports and data and insights you can just write to every one of us on LinkedIn. But else, I don't, yes, ageism is a problem, but if you work again, engineering the process right from the beginning, it won't be a problem, because then you will allow everyone with the right potential into the funnel.
And I think it's it's a good example of, not that recruiters are cruel in any way, but rather than
but they're human.
Exactly, the human brain is suboptimal to find clues on what's actually helpful when it comes to predicting who's going to be a good fit for a certain role. And we tend to have these assumptions about people very heavily based on who we are and how the society is and the norms in society have formed us. And it is a lot harder to get into the job market if you are too young, because then you don't have any experience. And if you're too old, because then you're too close to retirement, which neither has to be true, but it's still there's a really fascinating study where they looked at how much time a recruiter spends on a CV with eye tracking movements, and approximately it's 6 to 7 seconds per CV. And what you pretty much can take in during those seconds are maybe a picture, maybe a name, maybe some logos. That's it, and that's what you're going to base it on. And then you're going to go with those stereotypes of what does great look like. And that's often not someone who's 63, maybe, even though that's the best candidate.
100%.
We have yet another question on the regards on how you can change words to include females. And it's hard to give an example here, but you really have to do your candidate persona and see who you want to target your communication to. Where can you find them? What kind of tone of voice do you need? What kind of images? So it's something, again, you need to do based on research and data.
Yeah. I have some examples, and I have again, if you will go to adware.ai, we have a lot of information about what you can do in the ads and in the copy. But for instance, by changing gender content, so we mean switching word independent with self-directed and changing competent to knowledgeable, you can see a 32% increase in female applicants. In the way we work, we A/B test every message. So we will go on with some gender neutral, inclusive content you can work with in the ads, but you should always A/B test the outcome from the audience as well. So what's working for your females, what's working for every type of person you want to attract. But that's just,
Yeah, and that's an add-on to that, a rule of thumb, if it's a word that's very tied to this masculine norm, where for instance leader-like or competitive or go-getter
or A-team.
Exactly. Even though that you still want that, and that female can be all of that, those words tend to make it harder for women to recognize themselves in the content. So
44% wouldn't even apply if those words were included.
So that's maybe a first step.
And I think we're all seeing the reports on this. So let's dig into what you can do, should we?
Absolutely. I thought we can just start by looking at a very basic funnel and see how we can work throughout the phases, what you can do in each phase to really work to include everyone. Sarah, if we start with the attraction phase, what could you do there to widen your target audience?
Yeah, so it all starts with diverse and inclusive content in the recruitment marketing itself. And I know, Annika, you have a lot of knowledge into this, but I'd say from gender neutral and inclusive language to inviting images in the ads. Representation is a big part here. To the promotion of a diverse and inclusive team, culture, and employee brand, and attracting talent, attracting talented candidates to join your workforce means ensuring, like right off the bat, there's no barriers or bias. So it all starts there. And yeah, I can share a lot of examples of what you can do, but I think you have a lot of them too, Annika.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, speaking about content, it's always, very important that you be conscious again on what you want to achieve and who you want to target. So that is really something you have to do a lot of analysis in the attraction phase. And for that, as you mentioned, Sarah, there are a lot of great tools that you can work with. And as you mentioned, Linnea, maybe AI and those kind of methods are better in the attraction phase for at least reaching the target group. But then of course you have to have really, content is king everywhere. Whatever if you wanted to attract customers or candidates, you really have to have great content. And just on a note where you said, I think one reason why women don't apply if you have an ad saying like, hey, we're a competitive company, we're an A team, that is also something, because doing very great talent attraction in the attraction phase, you really need to communicate your employer brand and showcase your culture, why 100%. You chose to work there. And as a woman reading that ad, you might feel that this is not a match for my values and where I want to be, and you lose them there. So you really have to be clear about what you want to communicate.
Yeah, and men tend to overestimate themselves, and women apply if they feel 100% secure. So make sure your content is 100% secured.
Absolutely.
That's a thumb rule. Should I, because I have a lot of strategies into how this is made in practice, should I just, go on? Yes, I love this.
We love examples.
Perfect. So from the gender neutral ad content, like saying representation, images, you should not be going with the stock photo strategy. I would just if it's even better to just take pictures of your staff with your iPhone, for instance, show your real team and lay focus on what's it like to work there, like what's important for your personas, work-life balance, working out, taking a horseback ride on lunch. I don't know, include that. From there, I've also stated that social media is the #1 platform to attract passive and active candidates, since we enjoy 4.5 billion people there. But it's a lot of pitfalls going on to social media, and especially nowadays when targeting has been made so much harder. So you have to work a bit more strategic. So what I always recommend is behavioral targeting on social media is the way you should recruit, but it's not how a regular marketing department or agency work, which is where the pitfall comes in. So I would like to share all my tips and tricks on how to do this the best possible way, and also actually follow the anti-discrimination policies there is. So if you're recruiting talent with job ads on social media, the new anti-discrimination policies, for instance, Facebook and Instagram, will have severe impact on your targeting process. So no longer can you, or should you, target candidates based on age, gender, or ethnicity, or interest for that part. So for instance, if you're using Adway as a platform versus an agency or in-house, the marketing team, however, implementing this is seamless in its integration, because that's how we work defaults, making unbiased recruitment, behavioral driven targeting the cornerstone of your TA strategy. But if you're working in-house with social media recruitment or agencies, who solely rely on ad targeting versus user behaviors, which is the behavioral targeting part I talked about, you now have lost the full influence to target your audience, which is critical. So what you should do and what you could do is install tracking somewhere on your career page, which we work with, where you can add in different factors like behaviors and interest and their like all behaviors on your platform, taking into conclusion where you go and find them on social media. So no longer should you target on age, gender, interest, or where they lived, because you can't and you shouldn't and it's forbidden. Now you have to go with behavior targeting. So for us, we stand apart from agencies as the only data-driven, behavior targeted and unbiased approach to targeting candidates on social media. So installing this tracking on your customer's career page and segment the traffic is the key. So we can segment it into different audiences based on types of jobs they've been looking for and behaviors they've already directed towards the website. For instance, if they applied for a job and jumped off, if they requested more information, and so on. So by in doing so, we implement a completely unbiased approach, which is why we're here today, to the recruitment process for the candidates we want to reach out to. And we've effectively developed a better unbiased tool to reach a target candidates audience while staying compliant to all, because changes are coming, they always come. Social media is a hustle. So we always stay compliant with these new rules. So that's what really, when we talk about strategies, because content is key, but then coming down to strategies, my key takeaway is behavioral targeting.
That's great. Thank you. And I guess you have a lot of more examples, but we can talk for hours, as you
100%.
understand from this conversation. So I just think we're moving a little bit further down in the funnel. Of course, the attract phase and the hire phase is where you can work most effectively with unbiased, conscious unbiased. But in the engagement phase, I thought we could just touch upon what you can do there. Sarah, do you have a small note on that?
Yeah, I can just say, like, engaging a candidate who's coming into your talent pool is a lot about speed, efficiency, and showing you're interested. So, and I know, Linnea, you will take over with automated assessment, but from there, it should feel like everyone is on your case. This could be done by push notifications, text, email, LinkedIn engagement. Everything would need to be hands on deck here, because you have, I don't know the recent fact, but you have some days before that active candidate in this case are taken. So from there's like different tools as well. And we work with a company called eCulture. They have gamified candidate engagement. That's one way. There's a lot of ways. So for me, it's like engagement needs to happen right on.
Yeah, and I can build on that. I think it's super crucial that you state what's going to happen in the process. Like we do that in our job ads. And then stick to that with like a fast feedback loop. So ideally, once you have applied, you get, automated email. In our case, you also get automated assessments sent out. So something's already happening from day one. Once you've completed
and just,
that.
just interrupting there, you've explained for the candidates why this is happening. So, because one opinion, I not every day I hear it, but I hear it sometimes. It's like, why should you assess all the candidates, or all the, none of the candidates like or appreciate being assessed. They do. They do.
Yeah, exactly. I think the main reason is, again, because you want to treat everyone the same. And like a psychometric assessment in this case, or any like screening tool that you use, will not care about the candidate's name, about the candidate's age, about who they make out with in the weekends. Like, it will treat everyone the same. So that's like one of the main reasons. But also, if you use a good screening tool, it actually gives you information about something that's relevant further down the line, the funnel as well. So I think about, like, for this engagement phase, it is a lot about, from starting point, you want to show that we're already moving further down the funnel
and keep them in the loop.
Exactly.
You need to know exactly where you're at.
Yeah. So automated feedback, being quick on how to respond and so forth.
What's the next step? Always the next step.
Yeah.
And a small note on that, the engagement phase could also be converting into your application system or your ATS system, not ready right now, or didn't get the job,
right,
but you're still a potential candidate, a relevant candidate that you want to keep contact with for some time moving forward. With that, part of the funnel, there is also things you can do with working with automation systems to really, and again, content to share value and keep them interested in you as an employer.
100%.
One thing that in our own recruitment processes that has, this is way further down the line, but it's still very highly appreciated. And it's once you have had, you've done the assessments, you've had your first interview, we have, so you can get you get a link where you can book a 15-minute slot with someone from the team.
Oh, nice.
So you can actually be like, how's
Beautiful.
it really to work
Beautiful.
there?
Yeah.
That's actually really appreciated and so easy, takes no time.
And it's not like any employee would have anything against that. I'm just thinking no? Wow. People. This is nice.
No.
And going finally to the higher phase, you can, as we've summed up here today, there is a lot of you can do in the attraction engagement phase to work unbiased. But moving on to the higher phase, this is where you really can make a difference and work more evidence-based. Could you share some?
And I'm also very curious, Linnea, how we would get everyone insights on how to educate their hiring managers into this. But again,
really,
I guess every one of us in this room knows we should, but how do we educate our entire organization on this?
Yeah, excellent questions. So honestly, I think I'm not going to say it's a one size fits all. For some hiring managers, it's going to be like, this is the amount of time you would save, this is the amount of money we're going to save, etc. My best one is actually, okay, you as a hiring manager, who do you spend the most of your time on? Is it on the people that are working well or on the people that are not working well?
Right.
Very often it's those like, it's so painful, it's not really working. Okay, how is that impacting you? How is that impacting your targets?
Nice.
And then how should we actually make sure that we don't end up in that? So I would, go straight for the kill and be like, how is this impacting you and your daily work? Because they have targets on their back and people just don't want to screw up.
No,
Help them look good. Is probably going to be my way of doing it. And how that is done then. I would say let's once and for all kill the CV.
Yes, we could do that.
That could happen.
Yes.
I would definitely, instead of screening CVs, which we know is really, really problematic when it comes to diversity and inclusion and biases, rather use an objective screening methods. That could be just screening questions that are often involved in an ATS that you use.
Yeah.
It could be psychometric assessment, like Alva Labs that we're doing, like psychometric tests. Both good alternatives. There are other good alternatives like
you can even use screening questions already in the ads as we do. So for instance, if you're looking for a DevOps or a developer, like, hey, how many years of experience have you led a team? Do you know .NET? Perfect. Welcome. It's like that easy.
Exactly. Much better than screening CVs. Another solution could be digital interviews. I think the key is to get that human recruiter brain further down the line. You own the process, but
so hands off as soon as possible, right? That's the statement.
And let kind of the tools do the work for you, and you make sure that everything happens in the right order, and you own that process. And then further down the line, that's where you come in and your brilliance is really going to shine.
Preach. I'm preaching here. Preach.
So it's about removing human errors. It's about introducing more objective screening methods early on, not as a last stage. Honestly, okay, I represent a test company. If you are today using tests as the last process, it's not even worth it. That's almost money down the drain. It's great if you want to have that and as a engagement thingy, because people tend to love it.
Onboarding thing, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
How
but
this person work.
But it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you recruit better. It's not going to help you be more unbiased. So as early as possible, do that. And then I think, as I've said, structure is key in everything, both in the first initial assessment phases, but also further down the line. So for interviews, same questions to everyone. Nice. That's the same thing for phone interviews, digital interviews, face-to-face interviews. I don't care. as long as everyone is asked the same questions and that you actually have like a data-driven way to assess those answers. So it's not just like, oh, I liked Lisa or I liked
good.
Donald, but rather like you have to have a way, predefined way to then statistically combine all your information. Then you're all good.
Then you can take your hands off. So that's good.
Exactly.
So before we just sum up this very intense and interesting 45 minutes, do we have some more questions that you want to take the opportunity to have feedback on with these two brilliant experts that we have?
Yeah, and we stated if you don't have a question right now, just feel free to reach out to Annika, to Linnea, to myself on LinkedIn. We're always online, unfortunately, we're addicted. But we love this topic, so I guess we can just continue the discussion if you don't have one right now.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
And just to sum up, could you please give me just your 3 takeaways from this webinar? And Sarah, just continue to, as we started, you first.
Okay, me first. Top of the funnel. So I would say, hey everyone, welcome to 2022. It's officially like it's time to stop sourcing cold candidates at the old top same funnel that we always have. Now is the time to quit. Start top funnel by working data driven with your TA and recruitment marketing by using behavioral targeting as your sword for inclusive content in your ad strategy, which is very important. The best, again, recruitment marketing is unbiased, it's inclusive, and it's able to leverage innovations like social media and AI and data driven decision making to make the right bet from the start. Because again, if you perhaps were to recruit as you always have from a CV database or whatever, it doesn't matter if you have the best possible testing tool or whatever, you will always, like, you have to widen your pool from the start to give everyone a real chance. Like, that's main key. And I would also like throw up by demoing some of these cool tools, you can interact with and convert and hire candidates who will make your diversity and inclusion statement a reality. So don't be shy, like go out and test what tools are out there. There's a lot of them, but you have to change the way you work because it's 2022 and everyone needs to be given the same chance. So when it comes to unbiased recruitment, it's time to walk the talk because the future of TA depends on it, people.
Here. Let's see if I can top that. So I would say, like, actually, I mean, what gets measured gets done, right? So start actually like targeting some of these things and measure your success. That's, you know, obvious, but still really important. And then echoing the part of like data driven. So the more structure you add, the less gut feeling you will end up using. So structure is king, or queen, or in this whatever, both. And then the final one is, I think sometimes we tend to make this huge, and it's this huge project. Like start small. Like honestly, I don't care what you do as long as you do something tomorrow.
Go demo the products. Go take the knowledge that's out there. Use it.
Yeah, so start small, just start doing something. I don't care if that's adding one new interview question or buying a new tool or whatever it is. Just start doing something.
A/B test yourself, like a spreadsheet, just start. Because now, again, it's not, we can't be unconscious anymore. We have to be conscious, inclusive in every way we can. So the information is out there.
And we have heard a lot of good examples today from you guys, both on how to do it and what the result could be. So just to sum up exactly what you say, A/B test everything, both your content and foremost what you do. So try new things to get new results, of course. So
this was great, Annika. I'm still excited, but
we can talk forever. But as Sarah said, we are very much on LinkedIn, all 3 of us. So please connect with us there, and we can keep the conversation outside of this webinar. And thank you so much to Sarah and Linnea for doing this session with us. And thank you to all of you who participated, and hope to see you on another webinar soon again.
Yeah, 100%.
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Annika. You're amazing.
Thanks, you too, guys.
Bye.
Bye.